He is reportedly on the CIA's list to be killed or captured. Muslim cleric and alleged terrorist Anwar al Awlaki is accused of helping the Christmas Day bomber and inspiring the Fort Hood shooter. But now, since he's a U.S. citizen, lawyers will argue he cannot be the target of a killing. Joining me now, Congressman Dennis Kucinich, who's introducing legislation to stop the extrajudicial killing of U.S. citizens. Congressman, thanks very much for joining us.
Thank you.
You know, we have heard about this guy a lot, that he is dangerous. Representative Jane Harman called him the terrorist who would be #1 in terms of threats against us. So why is this not justified?
Well, there's a higher principle here, and that's the Constitution of the United States. Anyone who's a U.S. citizen has certain protections under the law. No matter how bad a crime a person commits, there is no summary execution under U.S. law. And so, you know, I would agree with my colleagues who would describe this person as being someone who is not worthy of public respect or in any kind of way to be approved of. On the other hand, the higher principle here is the Constitution of the United States. And what I'm working on with other members of Congress is upholding the Constitution to say that, you know, you have to charge people, you have to go through a judicial process before you come to a sentence, and if you decide to give capital punishment, that's as a result of a jury trial and a judge's decision.
You say you are working on this with other members of Congress, and the last time I saw a report, you had just a few, I think 5 co-sponsors. Is that still the number, and how do you convince people to sign on?
Well, the bill's been recently introduced, and Congress hasn't been in for a couple of weeks, and we'll be back after today in September. But I'm going to continue to reach out to members of Congress to explain to them the importance of protecting the Constitution. When we start making exceptions, and you say, well, this is a bad guy, we've got to deal with him, we've got to get rid of him, you can't make a law for one person. You set a precedent. And think of what it would be like if some other country, not the U.S., would decide that they had a right to start assassinating people in this country who might have some kind of citizenship or other connection with the second country. We cannot be in a position of making murder the rule of the day. If this is what we object to, if we object to killing, then you don't show people that killing's wrong by licensing premeditated killing of American citizens.
Congressman Dennis Kucinich, thank you so much. And I want to bring in Chris Harnisch now. He is an analyst at criticalthreats.org at the American Enterprise Institute. Chris, does Congressman Kucinich have a point here? Isn't every U.S. citizen entitled to due process?
Good morning, Chris. I absolutely understand where Congressman Kucinich is coming from. In fact, I really admire his willingness to stand up and try to protect and defend the rights of every constitutional rights of every American. We need to understand, though, that right now we are at war with al-Qaeda and its associated movements around the globe, and that's as defined by President Obama. And quite frankly, Anwar al Awlaki, who is referenced in that segment with Congressman Kucinich, he poses an immediate threat to the United States of America and our national security. He plays an operational role within al-Qaeda in the Arabian Peninsula, and he has a leadership role within that organization as well.
You know, shouldn't we at least be shown, shouldn't there be some sort of process that's gone through before a decision is made about something like this?
Absolutely. The mere debate of whether or not the U.S. government should use lethal force in order to kill an American terrorist should be, that mere debate should be an absolute last resort for the intelligence community. Ideally, we'd like to arrest Anwar al Awlaki or any other American terrorist who poses a threat to the United States. We have put our trust in the Yemeni government. In fact, we give them $150 million a year in order to go after al-Qaeda and the Arabian Peninsula leaders. Unfortunately, though, the Yemeni government has failed to produce any results and has failed to capture or kill any al-Qaeda and the Arabian Peninsula senior leadership, including Anwar al Awlaki. So that leaves us with very, very limited options available.
Well, it'll be interesting to see if indeed Dennis Kucinich can get any more support for this. As he said, the bill was recently introduced. Chris Harnisch, thank you.
You're welcome. Pleasure to be here.